Hello, my name is Dima and you on my travel channel. I travel a lot and usually handle all the preparations myself, often facing lack of necessary information. That's one of the reasons behind my decision to create this channel. I'm gonna to share my experience in all the details and hope this information will help you in your travel plans. So we start with South Africa, a country that impressed me a lot. If you enjoy the video, please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And now it's time to head to Africa. Africa has been on my radar for quite some time. However, to start with, I need to decide on a country, as an African experience available in a significant number of countries. Almost all of them are located on or below the equator, and they boast a unique concentration of places often seen on National Geographic. After some research, I decided to focus on South Africa, and here are the main reasons why. Incredibly beautiful nature, numerous national safari parks, opportunities to observe penguins, eels and even sharks, amazing wine region, and all within one country. Moreover, South Africa is the most successful country on the continent, suggesting better infrastructure and competition in serving tourists, which together result in a much higher comfort for lower cost. This is especially important given that any trip to Africa is costly affair. Some beautiful places are simply inaccessible without private jet or helicopter. One essential requirement for traveling in South Africa, in my opinion, is renting a car. For this purpose, I usually use a rental car service, which I recommended to you as well. Overall, the rental car market in South Africa is very well developed, and you shouldn't encounter any problems with it. In our case, we rented a car at Cape Town Airport and paid $350 for a Nissan X-Trail for 2 weeks. During this period, we traveled more than 2,000 kilometers across South Africa, and I can confidently say that the roads there are excellent and there is no special need for an off-road vehicle. As you may have guessed, our meeting with the country began in Cape Town. It is perhaps one of the most beautiful cities I have ever visited, and I think it can rightfully be called the pearl of all Africa. Really amazed me was the city's architecture, naturally integrated in the surrounding landscape. Such harmony is quite unique outside of Europe. This is largely due to the colonial heritage, which is easily noticeable in many aspects of life, including good roads, driving on the left side, architecture, winemaking and cuisine to some extent. If you briefly forget about Cape Town's main issues as poverty and high crime rates, you can easily imagine it is the best city to live in. Once you find yourself in Cape Town, you may quickly wish to spend all your travel time there. However, we had 4.5 days allocated for Cape Town in our plan, and I wouldn't recommend less than that. Given that the internet is full of information about the safety concerns in Cape Town, I'll pay some attention to this topic. In general, it is not as scary as it might seem. Cape Town can be conditionally divided into districts where you can stay and spend time, and those that are best avoided. If you stick to this principle, you will feel quite safe. During the daytime, it is essential to watch your belongings, but this rule applies to many other cities in different countries as well. One important rule I would definitely recommend following is to avoid walking around the city after sunset. The streets become almost deserted at that time, and it can be quite annoying. Now let's discuss where is the best to stay in Cape Town. And as usual, there is no one-size-fits-all answer, and it depends on your preferences and budget. Overall, Cape Town can satisfy almost any request. There are plenty of good hotels and apartments here. However, I would advise paying attention to interesting and unique accommodations. That's exactly where we stayed. It's a Victorian-style house built in 1892, located in the Greenpoint area. This small hotel has only 8 rooms with a beautiful design, attention to detail and excellent service. It's called Harper's House and I can highly recommend it. The cost of the room with breakfast was only about $70 per night. Greenpoint is indeed a great and convenient area to stay in Cape Town. It is very green, beautiful and has everything you need: shops, cafes and restaurants. And the best part is the park and the excellent promenade called Sea Point with a lawn and a lighthouse like this one. When choosing accommodation in Cape Town, I would also recommend considering the districts of Waterfront, Clifton and Camps Bay. Each of them offers its own unique vibe. During our visit to Cape Town, the weather changed several times a day, which affected our initial plans to visit specific landmarks. However, we accepted this as a fact and decided where to go next, taking this characteristic into account. It was March, the end of the local summer, so that might have played a role. Based on our experience, I would recommend refraining from buying tickets to open-air venues in advance. First, we visited the waterfront area, also known as Victoria and Alfred Waterfront. Essentially, it used to be old port docks that have been successfully transformed into a modern public space, with numerous cool art installations, shops, cafes and restaurants. There are also various cultural activities there. On weekends there are a market with souvenirs and food market with the local delicacies. This is one of the most visited places in Cape Town and we enjoy it. I would advise at least taking a stroll there. Indeed, the restaurants in this area are primarily tourist-oriented. There are also several good hotels where you can stay. If the budget of $1,300 per night is not a problem, then the luxurious Silo Hotel, a former elevator, would be an ideal option. On the lower floors there is the Zeitz Museum of Contemporary Art of Africa, which is also worth a visit. Just as we were finished on our walk in the waterfront, the sun came out from behind the clouds. Without hesitation, we headed to one of the most famous places in the vicinity of Cape Town, and I think you have already guessed that I am talking about the Cape of Good Hope. As we finally reached the Cape of Good Hope, the weather turned unpleasant once again, but there was nothing we could do about it. The journey there takes about 1.5 hours and has several options. It's best to choose the road through Chapman's Peak Drive, and it is one of the most scenic roads in the world. The Cape of Good Hope is located on the Cape Peninsula south of Cape Town, and it is often mistakenly considered the most southern point of the continent. However, that's not the case. The southernmost point of Africa is Cape Agulhas, located 150 kilometers to the east. The Cape of Good Hope is a part of the national park, and an entrance fee of $20 per person is required to visit. After entering, the road to the Cape leads through the park's territory, full of ostriches and baboons engaged in their ordinary activities. The nature here reminds me of the Argentine Patagonia landscapes. Upon reaching the Cape, we were slightly disappointed. It is simply the end of the road with a parking lot where with the inscription Cape of Good Hope, and the coordinates of the point are located. Visitors usually take photos here and then head to the old fort and lighthouse. It is located as expected on a cliff. You can reach it on foot or use a paid funicular. The highlight there is not just the lighthouse itself, but the amazing view of the Atlantic Ocean, and the understanding of Antarctica's proximity emphasizes the epicness of the moment. In short, it's definitely a must-visit place. After enjoying the moment at the edge of the earth, we continued our journey to the Simonstown, which is a 30-minute drive from the Cape of Good Hope. The town is famous for its Boulders Beach, where an African penguin colony resides. Besides the penguins themselves, the beach is notable for its boulders of various shapes and the unusually azure color of the ocean. We were lucky to visit this magnificence during the pre-sunset hours and with no other visitors at that time. Normally this place is quite crowded and there is an entrance fee. However, luck was on our side again and the turnstile leading to the beach was open and the ticket office was closed. Another must-visit point, and it can be conveniently combined with the Cape of Good Hope. But be careful in the parking lot near the beach, as penguins might hide under your car. Quite country and completely enchanted by what we saw during the day, we went for a dinner to the town Kalk Bay, which is a 20-minute drive from the penguins. Earlier I had chosen a restaurant with numerous reviews, Harbour House. Besides the excellent cuisine and South African wine, this place has two additional hidden advantages. First, you are greeted by seals right in the parking lot, sometimes unexpectedly. The restaurant is located in the harbor and the local fishermen actively feed the seals, so they hang around there. Secondly, the restaurant offers a breathtaking view of the raging ocean. The bad weather at that moment worked in our favor, creating an atmosphere of a mystical thriller through the windows. As you can see, we were very impressed with this place and it's definitely worth your attention. The following morning the weather was on our side and we set off for a walk in the central part of Cape Town. First we visited one of the most Instagram-worthy districts in the city, Bo Kaap. Historically it was the residence of Malay settlers and is considered a monument to Malay culture. All Cape Town travel guides always mention this place. However, in reality it's just a few streets with houses painted in different colors, something you can see in many other places. We spent there around 10 minutes only and went on. This place is not worth much attention unless you consider it as a backdrop for a photo session. Next we stopped by another well-known spot in Cape Town, Long Street. Today it is the center of the city's nightlife, the local equivalent of red light district. In my opinion, it can be skipped. The only thing that may catch your interest is the architecture of the Victorian-era buildings with their beautiful iron balconies. Also, I wouldn't recommend the local restaurants, they are very touristy. Instead, it is better to book a table at the very atmospheric Kloof Street House restaurant located nearby. Our next stop was the Parliament Building of South Africa, just a 10-minute walk from Long Street. First and foremost, it's a beautiful example of colonial-era architecture. Its construction lasted nearly 100 years. Moreover, the surrounding area is quite pleasant to walk around. The Parliament building is surrounded by the company's garden. Nowadays, it's a charming little garden with a variety of South African flora in the middle of the metropolis. Originally, in the 17th century, the Dutch laid it out with a very practical purpose – to grow vegetables for the company. Nowadays, strolling through this garden is a perfect way to conclude your visit to the central part of Cape Town. One of our favorite activities while traveling to new countries is visiting botanical gardens when available, and Cape Town is one of the best in this regard. At the foot of Table Mountain on the eastern side lies a delightful Kirstenbosch Botanical Garden. It's so good that you could easily spend a whole day there, but due to our tight schedule we only allocated about 4 hours. The garden has an entrance fee approximately $5 per adult. There are several restaurants where lunch becomes more of a visual than a gastronomic pleasure. Note that the restaurants close at 4 p.m. However, the main highlight of the garden is a canopy walkway, a suspended bridge at 12 meters high. You'll have a fantastic view over a large part of the garden. Just like desert, it's best to save this cherry on the top for the end. By the way, for hiking lovers, there is an option to hike up to the top of Table Mountain from Kirstenbosch. All in all, Kirstenbosch is one of Cape Town's main attractions and must-visit spot. As the day was drawing to a close, we decided to end it in one of the best districts of Cape Town, Camps Bay. Here there is a long and beautiful promenade with many nice places. In one of them you can enjoy at the end of the day with a glass of local wine. We choose Mantra Cafe for this purpose and I can recommend it to you. Speaking of Camps Bay, it's probably the best place to stay in Cape Town with a view of the sea and a good beach. I would definitely spend much more time there. Camps Bay is considered an elite neighborhood in Cape Town. However, it's more of a recreational area than a residential one. As such, there is a considerable range of various hotels, villas and apartments available. This area has a unique charm with the beautiful lion's head on the one side and the mountain range with a immersive name, the 12 Apostles, on the other side. Together they create a superb combination of breathtaking nature and urban infrastructure, making this place an excellent spot to observe local life with a glass of Chenin Blanc, for example. Now let's touch on the topic of beaches in Cape Town. There are two important things to understand. First, there are beaches, and they are quite good and plentiful. Second, the water temperature in the ocean here is quite low even in the summer months. The water temperature rarely reaches 21 degrees Celsius. Beach leisure in Cape Town is more about being near the ocean than swimming. However, it is an excellent and well-known spot for surfing and kiteboarding. And as you know, surfers are not afraid of the temperature of the water, as well as of the sharks, which from time to time also come to the local beaches. Considering these features and the lack of time, we minimized our beach time. Besides visiting Camps Bay, we also make a quick stop at the luxurious Clifton Beach, which is located in the neighboring bay. This is the most elite district in Cape Town. The beach here is also very beautiful and due to its smaller size, more cozy. However, the most interesting are the nearby located villas. Even their fences and gates design leaves a powerful impression. In short, the area is incredibly atmospheric. Once you're here, you immediately understand why many celebrities choose to invest in real estate in this particular place. On the next day, we woke up at 5 in the morning and set out for what was probably the most significant adventure for me during this trip. I had dreamed of this for a long time, ever since I first learned about this activity. So our path led to the small town of Gansby, which is about 170 kilometers away from Cape Town. The journey takes about 2.5 hours one way and passes through incredible landscapes with the mountains shrouded by clouds and the vineyards. All these beauties create a unique thrill and time flies by quickly. Well, Gansby itself is famous for many sharks' life in its coastal waters, including the great white shark. Some experts call this place the capital of great white sharks, and the main thing there is the opportunity to dive in a cage to these amazing predators, to meet them face to face. In Cape Town there are many different agencies selling shark tours, but I recommend turning to the company Marine Dynamics, which conducts the tours directly, without intermediaries. You can find a link to their website in the description below. It's important to mention that everything is organized at the highest level. It all starts at the Great White House, which is located not far in Glenby Bay. Here, a local biologist will share interesting facts about shark life and provide a safety briefing. You can also have breakfast here and then have a lunch after the tour. They provided us with the necessary equipment for the dive, and then we set off to the departure point. The specially designed vessels like this one were waiting for the dives. The journey to the shark hotspot takes about 30 minutes. The crew started attracting the sharks by pouring such a soap made from fish waste. That's the soap for sharks. Everything is mixed and almost like voila, a quick meal is ready, I would say. It doesn't look very appealing, but what can you do? Birds are the first to try. At that time you are experiencing a real wild nature effect. Then the crew put the cage down into the water and we, the adrenaline seekers, get to enter it. But one soup is not enough, so they also throw big fish heads in the water to attract the sharks. Don't worry, they are placed in a way that won't harm the sharks. For the first 40 minutes we didn't see anyone besides birds, and there was a slight sense of disappointment in the air. But soon luck smiled upon us. Sharks, accompanied by rays, happy us with their presence, and we with other participants took turns going into the cage. Up to 5 people can fit in the cage at once. It's worth mentioning that the water is cold, and despite the wetsuit, it's challenging to stay in it for more than 20 minutes at a time. The sensations are truly incredible, but personally I wasn't afraid. It was more of, oh wow, I did it. There was a biologist on board. She shared a lot of interesting facts about the underwater world. Over the 3 hours on the boat we were able to see about 16 different sharks and several rays. Unfortunately, the great white shark didn't come, but that's wildlife and no one can guarantee its appearance. Diving with the sharks was a long-standing dream of mine and it came true. I was absolutely thrilled. For those who doubt and fear, I want to say that it's entirely safe. The main thing is to do it with professionals. The cost of the shark dive at that time was about $300 US for 2 people. It takes almost the entire day considering the road travel, and I highly recommend going there. The iconic symbol of Cape Town is undoubtedly Table Mountain National Park, which is majestically towers over the city. In fact, the mountain was recognized as one of the new 7 wonders of the world in 2011 through a global voting process. From the mountain top you can enjoy wonderful views of almost the entire Cape Town. You can reach the top by hiking or using the cableway. However, Table Mountain is a bit shy and it's often covered in clouds, making it not worth visiting during those periods. This was the case during most of our stay in Cape Town, and we were starting to get worried. But on the morning of our last day, a miracle happened. The sky was clear, and we immediately headed up the mountain. We didn't have much time or the desire to hike, so we tried for the Cable Way. This place is so popular that in pre-pandemic times you could spend several hours waiting in line. However, we were lucky and there was no queue at all. The round-trip ticket costs $20 per person. The mountain top is plateau, which makes it similar to the table and led to the name Table Mountain. Thanks to this unique feature, you can walk around and observe Cape Town's life from a height without needing any rock climbing skills. There is also a cafe shop where you can have a snack or buy souvenirs. The sun and wind at the top can be quite intense, so a light jacket and sunscreen will be helpful. Visiting Table Mountain is of course a must-see experience in Cape Town. I think it would be also great to catch the sunset there. We spent about an hour and a half at the top, which in my opinion was sufficient. Furthermore, on the same day we had another 530-kilometer journey along the picturesque garden route to the city of Plettenberg Bay. Our acquaintance with the Cape Town came to an end, and I must say that it really hooked me. Cape Town is so amazing that it can easily impress even the most seasoned traveler. Well, I will definitely find a reason to come back here. After all, we haven't seen everything here. But we will return to the Cape Town surroundings in the next video to explore its charming wine region, which is separate pleasure. For now, thank you for watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you in the next one.